So I decided to take today the hymn which was translated by Sri Aurobindo. That's very good for us. We can start from there, and then there are also references of Kapali Shastri to the Apri Suktas. He has the whole article. I will send you just to look into this. But first we have to become familiar with this type of hymns, invoking different devatas. Usually these hymns are considered to be related to Agni. They all start with Agni, of course, and then all the devatas come one by one. You see, we take this from Mandala 5. Vasushruta Atreya, very famous rishi of the Atri family. Devata Apri Sukta. So interesting, Apri Sukta is Devata. And then everything is described. What is this? So what is Apri? Apri is Apri, Prinati, Prinite. It is from root pri to like, to love. So Apri can be translated as the hymn of love or propitiating God's hymn. Yeah? So something like this. Pleasing the gods. So the first, as you see here, is listed in this red. You can see Idma Samidha Agni. So the kindled Agni, the first verse. Second verse, Narashamsah, is a very interesting term. Met mainly in the Sapri Suktas means kind of praised by the gods. That's how Sri Aurobindo translates, or praised by men if we translate Nara as man. And if we translate Nara as gods, or those gods who are involved in sacrifice, then praise to the gods who are involved into the sacrifice. So the gods who come down, mainly it is Agni. Agni is the one who brings all the gods through himself into this. Then we have Ila, 3, usually for barhis. Barhis is the grass. You will see the differences. So one is what is listed by tradition, and other is how Sri Aurobindo deals with it and what devata are there. Devi Dvara, the goddesses' portals or the divine doors, which will have to be open. Ushasa Nakta, and that means dawn and night. Nakta is night, Ushas is dawn. Ushasa Nakta, Vedic dual. So Ushasa also dual, Nakta dual, both are dual. Divya Hota Prachetasa, interesting, one Hotar here, but there are two of them. Two divine Hotars. And then we have number 8. This is the order which is fixed for Aprisuktas. So all 12 Aprisuktas will have similar order. And the 8th one is Saraswati Ilam Bharati, or rather Ila Saraswati Bharati, in this order. And finally we have Tvashta, Tvashtri is the solar deity who is the creator of the first physical form, first ladle physical, which could hold soma. So to say, the creator of they're asking for the link. I do not know what is this about link. I sent it to everyone the invitation. Some people, of course, they are not familiar with these things. If you see somebody like Rigveda, somebody Akshaya, Kumar Mishra, the same link all the time. So here I will send him in a minute. Tvashta and then Vanaspati and Swaha. Ankariti. So we will look into these one by one and see how Sri Aurobindo is addressing this. Let me send the link first. All right. So we have the same link all the time, so we don't need to have another link. Yeah? So once you know the link, you don't need to ask for it. You just click on the same link. Yes, Akshaya Kumar Mishra, the same link all the time, every week, so there is no need to search for the link. Just click on the same one or save the same link for yourself and then you will know where to go. So here this very puzzling and very interesting type of hymns. And what is interesting about it that every family of rishis has one Apri Sukta at least. So it means they must. It's some kind of tradition or some kind of the format of invoking the Godheads in this order for the sacrifice. Sri Aurobindo gives his own description. Here it is, a hymn of the summoning of the gods. The hymn calls to the sacrifice by the summons of the divine flame, the principal Godheads. The divine flame, the principal Godheads. Each is described or invoked in that capacity and functioning in which he is needed and helpful to the perfection of the soul and its divine growth and attaining. Something is missing here, most probably copied that way. So if you look into I will not correct it now, I will do it later. If you look at these one by one verses, I want to read first Sri Aurobindo's translation that will give you the sense of it, yes? So each Godhead is described and invoked in that capacity and functioning in which he is needed and helpful to the perfection of the soul and its divine growth and attaining. Interesting. Yeah. So everyone is coming to help the Yajamana grow. To the will that knows all the births, Jata Vedas, the first line, to the flame highly kindled, purely luminous offer a poignant clarity. Offer a poignant clarity. Yes. Susamidhaya shochishe ghritam tivram juhotanad. Ghritam, the poignant clarity, tivram, sharp, or luminous, bright clarity, juhotana, you should offer to him. To the flame, Agnaye Jata Vedase, who knows all the births, who is blazing Shochushe, and Susamidhaya, who is the fully kindled or perfectly, totally kindled. This is he that expresses the powers of the gods, the untamable, who speeds on its way this our sacrifice. This is the seer who comes with the wine of sweetness in his hands. This is still to Agni. And now, O strength, we have sought thee. With our adoration, bring hither the god-mind Indra, bright and dear in his happy chariots, for our increasing. And there are two footnotes to number 3 verse. Indra is invoked. The plural in his chariots is used to indicate the manifold movement of the divine mind in its completeness. So in his happy chariots, he has to come. One Indra in many happy chariots. So there is no problem for Rishi to see it, because he appeals to the spiritual experiences. And Indra comes in many ways. Widely spread thyself, softly, thickly covering, towards thee lighten the voices of our illumination. Be white and bright in us, that we may conquer. There is a footnote about spread thyself widely. Man's sacrifice is his labor and aspiration Godwards, and is represented as traveling through the open. Oh, sorry, I'm jumping. This verse is addressed to Indra, the power of divine mind. This one again I will read. O strength, we have sought thee with our adoration. Bring hither. Oh no, sorry. Widely spread thyself softly, thickly covering. These two verses are addressed to Indra. Yes? First is, O strength, we have sought thee with our adoration. Bring hither the god mind, bright and dear in his happy chariots, for our increasing. Widely spread thyself, softly, thickly covering, towards thee lighten the voices of our illumination. It's all to Indra addressed, yes? Be white and bright in us, that we may conquer. So there are two footnotes. One of them is, this verse is addressed to Indra, the power of the divine mind, through whom comes the illumination and supramental truth. It is through Indra supramental truth is reaching out to our lower hemisphere. Though we didn't reach the supermind yet, supermind is far away from us, unreached. Still, Indra comes with that supramental lightning, reaching, leaping out, breaking through our ceiling, and brings this illumination into our mind. Yes? Through whom, Shiv Bindu says beautifully, comes the illumination of the supramental truth. Illumination, not supramental truth, but only the light, the lightning. By the advancing chariots of his giver, of this giver of light, we conquer our divine possessions. And then number 5, about the divine doors. Swing open, O ye doors divine, and give us easy passage for our expanding. Father, Father, lead, and fill full our sacrifice. There is a footnote for the divine doors. Man's sacrifice is his labor and aspiration Godwards, and is represented as traveling through the opening doors of the concealed heavenly realms, kingdoms conquered in succession by the expanding soul. Through the opening doors of the concealed heavenly realms, kingdoms conquered in succession by the expanding soul. So these divine doors, or the goddesses' portals, they are mentioned many times. Kapali Shastri has his own take on it. We will see into it in a minute. And then the verse darkness and light, or the night and dawn. Darkness and dawn, we desire, two mighty mothers of the truth, fairy fronting us, increases of our spacious being. Interesting how he puts it. Increases of our spacious being. They increase the scope of our growth of consciousness, both of them. Darkness holds us in this field, and the light is increasing through the darkness, the scope, our spacious being, conquest by consciousness of the darkened being of the fallen emanations. So there is a footnote, number 5, night and day, symbols of the alternation of the divine and human consciousness in us. Sometimes we are divine, sometimes we are very human, or even worse than human. The night of our ordinary consciousness holds and prepares all that the dawn brings out into conscious being. So the night is the holder of everything what is brought by the dawn. The dawn brings the light from the beyond, and the night is here, holding it. Yes, our ordinary consciousness holds and prepares all that the dawn brings out into conscious being. We spoke about this already, that we need to assimilate the light. We cannot go only into the light. The light comes here to transform the darkness. The darkness is the field in which we live. We are the darkness. And that assimilation is taking place. That's why they are both there. This alternation, constant movement up and down, is the way forward. And then number 7, very puzzling one. Nobody can actually truly interpret this one. And O ye divine priests of our humanity, O worship twain, approach on the paths of the life breath to this our sacrifice. This duality of life breath is coming from the duality, as we know from Sri Aurobindo studies, from the duality of chittapas, yes, consciousness force. They are both priests, and they determine our life force here. And then we will speak about this in detail more. I'm just first reading by Sri Aurobindo. She of the vision of knowledge. He translates 3 goddesses, Ila, Saraswati, Mahi. So she of the vision of knowledge is Ila. She of its flowing inspiration, that is Saraswati. She of its vastness, that is Bharati or Mahi. 3 goddesses who give birth to the bliss. They who stumble not, may they take their seats at the altar strewn of the sacrifice. Strewn is this barhis, this expansion of our consciousness, purifying of our inner realms for the invitation of the Godheads and the goddesses in this case. So 3 goddesses, 2 footnotes, 3 goddesses and stumble not. Ila, Saraswati, Mahi, their names are translated in order to give the idea of their functions. So Ila is the revelation, Saraswati is inspiration, and Mahi is the vastness. This is the triple supermind entering into our realm. The vision, the hearing, and the vastness touch. Seeing, hearing, and touch in the lower realms of the faculties of consciousness. And number 7, or stumbling not, or who are not assailed, cannot be attacked by the ignorance or darkness, cause of our suffering. So they cannot be altered, they cannot be changed. They are not stumbling over the darkness. They kind of flow through the darkness. Darkness cannot stop them. Number 8, she of the vision of knowledge. Number 9, of fashioner of things. And that is Tvashtri, footnote. Tvashtri is this godhead I mentioned before. Aditya, one of the ancient gods, who are not very famous afterwards in the post-Vedic period. He is the fashioner of the form, of the physical form, the creator of the first animated matter which holds immortality. That soma is held. Our animated matter is actually living matter. Yes, it lives, it is born, it is growing, living, and it is getting old and dying, and leaves the seed behind to continue the journey. So the fashioner of things, beneficent hither, come to us, pervader of all in thy being, in thy nourishing of all and with thyself. Interesting. Footnote: in thyself, the divine, as the fashioner of things, pervades all that he fashions, both with his immutable self-existence and with his mutable becoming of himself in things by which the soul seems to grow and increase and take on new forms, reincarnations. So this organic matter which was created can hold the reincarnations of the soul. By the former, he is indwelling Lord and Maker, and by the latter, he is the material of his own works. He created this first ladle, it's called, ladle which can hold soma, can hold immortality, the physicality which can hold immortality. O Master of Delight. 2 more verses. O Master of Delight, to that goal where thou knowest the secret names of the gods, thither lead our offerings. There is a footnote to the Master of Delight, the Ananda, or Soma in this case. Soma. And to that goal, another footnote, the Ananda, the state of divine beatitude in which all the powers of our being are revealed in their perfect Godhead, here secret and hidden from us. So this has to be recovered, the bliss, the Ananda, with the help of Soma. And the last verse, Svaha to the will and to the Lord of wideness, Svaha to the God mind and to the thought powers, Svaha to the Godheads, be the food of our oblation. Here the footnotes. Svaha to the Lord of vastness is Varuna, Svaha to the thought energies, the Maruts, nervous or vital forces of our being which attain to conscious expression in the thought, singers of the hymn to Indra, the God mind. You know, Indra and Maruts are actually go together. There is the whole story we mentioned already a few times. And the last ones, that is, let all in us that we offer to the divine life be turned into the self-light and self-force of the divine nature. So you see the whole procedure from the initiation and kindling the flame through all the devatas to back to nature, which is already kind of transformed and becomes divine. Now I have verse by verse with more kind of dwelling on them, but I wanted to give you the first touch, how dense it is and how profound is the vision of transformation in simple verse, like 11 lines, 11 Gayatri verses only. And the whole vision comes into being. And interestingly, if you compare with other hymns, Apri Suktas, they will follow the same format, same words, with minor differences here and there, which are adding to the understanding of the whole process of the sacrifice. Quite a thing, yes? Didn't expect this richness. Selby's thinking what to say. Yes, Selby?
Vladimir, where did you get Sri Aurobindo's commentary? Because I'm looking at Hymns to the Mystic Fire, and it's only got like half of what you have there.
Oh, yeah, it is available. Right. It is in his Hymns to the Mystic Fire.
Maybe I need to get the online version because in my book it doesn't have all of those footnotes, and the translation is a little bit different.
Okay.
So I'll look online at the Hymns to the Mystic Fire. I just want to have all of that.
Right. I will send you the file anyhow. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I just wondered where you got it.
Oh, yeah, I will tell you where I got it, but now I don't. Should I look now?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So, yeah, well, if it is the only comment, then we can go ahead. I thought something on the matter, something which is puzzling or which is not clear from the beginning. And the verses are very beautiful. Susamidhaya shochishe garitam tivram juhotana agnaye jata vedase. Narashamsach sushudati imam yajnamadabhiyach kavirhi madhohastiyach. Ilato agna avaha indram chitram iha priyam sukhaih rathebhih utaye. Urnam radavi prathasva abhya arka anoshata bhavanach shubhra sataye. You could feel this and elevated tone. Devir dvaro vishrayadvam suprayanana utaye praprayajñam pranitana.
Vladimir, what did you say? Something was from Kapali Shastri? I missed that.
Yes, Kapali Shastri has the whole article on this Apri Suktas
Oh,
defining
okay.
the devatas. He
Hmm.
follows Sri Aurobindo, but sometimes he is a bit in his own.
I see.
I will send the whole article.
Okay.
I will first follow Sri Aurobindo and then add Kapali Shastri.
Yeah, I've listened to some of his videos on, I mean, the hymns on YouTube. I'll post them. They're very beautiful. I don't know who has sung them, but I mean, who's recited them, but they are really so beautiful.
Very
It's,
nice. Yes, please do. Kapali
yeah.
Shastri was, as some of you may know, a follower, Sri Aurobindo's disciple. He was in himself a scholar. He translated quite a bit of the Veda and hymns in the light of Sri Aurobindo. Unfortunately, he didn't continue. And then the whole institute was created, Kapali Shastri Institute
Mm.
in Bangalore, which became this trust Sakshi Trust, yes,
Sakshi, yes, yes.
where this Kashyap, Professor Kashyap, whom I knew very well, he is no more. He was close to us. He was coming often to Savitri Bhavan, where I worked to discuss these matters. He published the whole translation, but of course it's not Kapali Shastris. It's he has a team. He had a team of scholars, of Brahmins who could translate, but it is not the same, unfortunately. So this work is to be done more in depth. Yes, it was kind of, they wanted to translate everything. Try to translate the whole Rigveda. You will not be able to do it. if you want to do it with high quality, yes, it's just not doable. It's not possible. Sri Aurobindo spent so many years and translated maybe, I do not know, 100 plus hymns, no more. And how can you translate 1,000 hymns? It's just not doable.
Yeah, stupendous work, right? I mean,
Yeah. So you need a group, and group is always, making it kind of coming back to the common denominator, so to say. And
yeah.
they do not have the same consciousness as Kapali Shastri or Sri Aurobindo. So in a way, it needs more dwelling. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, when you read Shobindo's translations, it's just, I mean, they just completely stand out, right? I mean, it's, you're uplifted. And I mean, most of the other ones, even like the ones that on the web, you see, um, it's such a, I mean, I think you can't, there's no comparison, right? I mean, it's
No,
just,
no
but
way.
like you said, to do that, now you need that consciousness, right? So,
Right. And you have to understand what is being said, and nobody knows, nobody. So we now follow Sri Aurobindo's keys, and of course we try to do justice to what he brought forward, but we are more explorers also, yes, with our own consciousness, which is far from that what it should be for these hymns. So we are forgiven. Our ignorance is there, yes, of course, but we follow the light of Sri Aurobindo and try to kind of find our own light in it. The more we read the Rigveda in the light of Sri Aurobindo, the more it dawns on us. It brings the elements which were not expected, which were not known to us. So it builds up the whole perception of, it's like similar to Savitri. Savitri also builds up the, as Mother says, the neurons in your brain, uh, um, by which you will be able to finally understand what Sri Aurobindo says in Savitri. Yes? So Savitri itself is tuning you up to that knowledge. Yes? Same with the Rigveda. I think this is absolutely the same purpose. Yeah? To actually tune your consciousness more and more to the divine perception. And nothing more than that. Of course, it is all true as an experience, and um, spiritual experiences are described and so on. But then the purpose is different. The purpose is actually to connect, to connect our human consciousness to the divine. So here is the first verse. Susamidhaya shochishe gharitam tivram johotana. These are always will be samidha, susamidha in all Apri Suktas. Unfortunately, I cannot show you all of them at once, but the same order, the same choice of words. Yeah? So, to the will that knows all the births, to the flame highly kindled, purely luminous offer a poignant clarity. So to the perfectly kindled fire who is shining with purity, this is my words, all this interpretation is only my words. You offer the sharp and intense clarity of the mind to Agni who knows all your births. It is when the fire is perfectly kindled, blazing with purity, and itself purifying, that you must offer the intense clarity of your luminous thoughts, intentions. For he knows all your births of the soul, and he will grow with that offering, leading you on the right path towards the felicity. Supatrare. In other words, the verse says that you must offer, surrender your best illuminations of the mind to the leading flame within you to guide you on the path. It is only when it is offered to the flame within that the best thoughts will have a true result and will not be wasted, for they will feed the growth of divinity within. If the clarity of the mind is offered to the undivined powers, it will support the growth of Ritravala Dasyus Panis in us. It would feed, yes, them with the best food of this creation, making them powerful and easily accessing the consciousness of man. This is what is happening in today's world. We are feeding the wrong gods, and they are becoming mighty. Notice how mighty they are. Yeah, they are absolutely stupid, every one of them. Yeah, look at them, dishonest, stupid, ugly in every way, but they pretend to be mighty, powerful, and meaningful because we serve them with our higher thoughts. We bring the technology to them, then they start using technology to make us less developed and so on. They start the wars, they start this, that, they introduce exchange of money in the unfair way, and so on. They are taking our highest thoughts, coming to us from the divine, and we are feeding them by those thoughts. We are offering the best in us and Soma in us, the delight in us, to them. So this is something interesting. Offer to the one perfectly kindled in you this sharp and blazing mental clarity of yours, to Agni who knows all your births. Because only then you can proceed. Then only you can conquer those forces which resist and obstruct the movement forward. You have to feed your flame with those illuminations which are coming to you. Yeah. And they are coming to us. But what do we do this with them? We just waste them for nothing, for something which is trivial. We start selling them to these anti-divine forces to get their, propitiate them, to get their graciousness for us, to give us a little bit food and money and this and that. We are trying to make deals with them. Look, we have something you want. We also want something. This selfishness in us is actually, we are the problem of our own, development. So if we want to develop, we have to offer those luminous things to the divine in us, not to these anti-divine forces. Here is the passage from Savitri, which is also powerful. On the altar, throwing thy thoughts, thy heart, thy works. Thy fate is a long sacrifice to the gods, till they have opened to thee thy secret self. It's exactly Vedic, absolutely Vedic. Yes, why the gods are propitiated and why the sacrifices are made of our thoughts. That's the major point. Those luminous thoughts, our heart, love, and our works, actions, to this long sacrifice to the gods till they have opened to thee thy secret self. They will help us to travel forward, to occupy our territories which are not occupied now, our mind, vital and physical, build our environmental consciousness, and made thee one with the indwelling God. Till they have opened to thee thy secret self and made thee one with the indwelling God. O soul, intruder in nature's ignorance, armed traveller to the unseen supernal heights, thy spirit's fate is a battle and ceaseless march against invisible opponent powers, a passage from matter into timeless self. Narashamsach sushudati imam yajnamadabiyach kavirhi madhuhastiyach. This is he that expresses the powers of the gods. This is Agni, Narashamsach, the untamable, who speeds on its way this our sacrifice, this our offering, this our transformation. He speeds on the way. He doesn't postpone it, or he doesn't withhold it, doesn't stumble it on the way. He speeds it on the way. This is the seer who comes with the wine of sweetness in his hands. He offers the delight of this progress. Progress is the delight. For the one who expresses the divine powers, he effectuates and arranges this sacrifice. He should be trusted in his ways of doing it, for he cannot be deceived neither by man nor by other creatures. It is he who is the seer and the knower, who brings to us the delight of supreme existence. So he knows where to go. Yeah? Agni Naya Supatharaya Asman. Lead us, O Agni, by the perfect path to the felicity. He knows the perfect path. Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan, O you who knows all the paths. He knows all the paths and knows the shortcuts for us, so to say, the perfect path for us to the felicity, to the divine delight. And then we come to a very interesting shift. So the first two were to Agni, and now we come to Agni's action. Ilita agna avaha indram chitramiha priyam sukhaiharathebhi hudaye. O strength, we have thought thee with our adoration. Bring hither the God mind. Bright and dear in his happy chariots for our increasing. There are 2 footnotes. The God mind is Indra, and the 17 is the why in the many chariots. I already spoke about this. The plural is used to indicate manifold movement of the divine mind in its completeness. So it's not one movement. There are many movements. Many lightnings will be coming down to us. Yes. O flame, you are sought by us with ardent adoration and love in our hearts. Bring here Indra, the Lord of Mind, bright in his knowledge and dear to us, who comes to help us in our growth in his chariots of bliss. Sukhaihi rathebih, in his happy chariots, utaye, to support us, to help us grow. Agni is asked to bring Indra, the lord of lightning, of the higher realms of the mind, Svar, who strikes with his lightning the enemy and illumines in us all that is hiding in the darkness of our subconscious realms. He is the helper from above, who is to support our growth towards heaven and beyond. This is the fulfillment of the sacrifice. We can say on verse 3, we can stop. These sacrifices should be fulfilled, because when Agni brings Indra, when they join together Indra Agni, then the light from above, supramental light, and the call from below are already together. They met, so to say. The call from below met the grace from above. But we continue. Urnamrada viprathasva abhi arka anushata bhavanach shubhrasataye. Widely spread thyself, O Indra, we can add, softly, thickly covering. Towards thee lighten the voices of our illumination. Be white and bright in us, that we may conquer. O Indra, spread your light over our consciousness, softly, thickly covering. Make our hymns shine towards you. Make these luminous invocations of Agni shine towards you. Be bright and luminous in us, that we may win this battle sacrifice. There are footnotes, widely spread thyself. And let me read Sri Aurobindo's. This verse is addressed to Indra, the power of the divine mind, through whom comes the illumination of the supramental truth. By the advancing chariots of this giver of light, we conquer our divine possessions. And I'm coming to the number 5. Devir dvaro vishrahadvam suprayanana utaye praprayajnam pranitana. Swing open, O ye doors divine, and give us easy passage for our expanding. Father, Father, lead, and fill full our sacrifice. There is a footnote for doors divine. Man's sacrifice is his labor and aspiration Godwards, and is represented as traveling through the opening doors of the concealed heavenly realms, kingdoms conquered in succession by the expanding soul. The goddesses, I translate them there, Devih, yeah, which introduce the aspirant to the heavenly path of this growth, of his growth and expansion, are called Devi Dvarach. They are called the divine doors, or the goddesses' portals, as you like. And in all Apri Suktas they are mentioned, the divine doors, in feminine gender. It's beautiful. They should fill the sacrifice with their heavenly presence more and more. They seem to be the same goddesses who are mentioned later in the 8th verse of the same Apri Sukta, Ila Sarasvati Mahi Tisro Devih Mayo Bhuvah. That is why they should fill full our sacrifice, because these are the streams, the currents which come through the doors. Doors open up wide and we can have access to the beyond. As if they are the streams, Ila, Sarasvati, Mahi are the currents of consciousness from the higher worlds, from the supramind actually, which come down to support and to inspire the aspirants. The Vedic symbol of the heavenly waters is described by Sri Aurobindo in The Secret of the Veda in this way. Our direct truth perceptions of the on the other hand, come from that supermind, a will that knows and a knowledge that affects, which creates universal order out of infinity. So it is in the supermind the universal order is created out of the infinity. Its awakening into action brings down, says the Veda, the unrestricted downpour of the rain of heaven. This is actually a universal symbol of the divine answering to your prayer, the rain of heaven. The rain, yes, in many cultures, many religions. The full flowing of the seven rivers from a superior sea of light and power and joy. It reveals Satchitananda. So here Kapali Shastri speaks on these the divine doors. It may be mentioned that the opening of the doors in the yoga of the Vedic mystics corresponds to the opening of the psychophysical centers, chakra bheda, in the yogic systems of the latter ages that have attempted to preserve something of the esoteric wisdom in the Vedic lore. Stress is laid on the divine will and the divine powers in the Vedic path, while in the latter and tantric systems, stress falls on the personal effort. This is his comment on these divine doors. He believes that these are chakras and they have to be opened. And here we come to these two mothers. And here I will stop for today. Supratike vayovradha yahviritasya matara. Matara dosham ushasam imahe. Supratike vayovradhaya viritasya matara dosham ushasam imahe. The darkness and dawn we desire. Two mighty mothers of the truth, fairly fronting us, increases of our spacious being. The footnote, night and dawn symbols of the alternation of the divine and human consciousness in us. The night is our ordinary consciousness, holds and prepares all that the divine dawn brings out into conscious being. We desire the night and the dawn, says the Rishi, which is in itself quite unusual to desire the night. But if we follow its real meaning explained by Sri Aurobindo in the notes, night and day symbols of alternation, I just read this. The night of our ordinary consciousness holds and prepares all that the dawn brings out into the conscious being. Then we would understand that they are both necessary for the birth of the soul within man. Or, as it was already mentioned in the previous hymn, to deliver Agni, that he could become the white steed in front of the days. So we have the Agni growing within us, the divine presence. And these two, night and dawn, are two mothers who are feeding Agni's growth. He has two mothers, the night and the dawn. And both are needed for his growth. Interesting. Night most probably holds him in her embrace, and the dawn is feeding him to grow through the night. And here I will stop, or maybe I will take one more. I do not know what time is. This is something very interesting of two hotars, which nobody knows what these two hotars really represent, and I will read Kapali Shastri to you also. Vatasya Patman Ilitan Daivya Hotara Manushach Imam no Yajnam Agatam. And O ye divine priests of our humanity, O worshipped twain, approach on the path of the life breath to this our sacrifice. So they approach through the life breath, through Vata, Vatasya Patman. The two divine hotars of the path of the wind, on the path of the wind, are explained by Sayana as Agni and Surya. Sayana has his own interpretation, as they may be connected with heaven and earth, day and night, in their locations. The path of the wind, Vata Vayu, connects them from earth to heaven and from heaven to earth. We know this, yes. It is like a double turbulence. These three are to be united for the fulfillment of the sacrifice. The union of Agni, Vayu, and Surya is the accomplishment of the sacrifice. So most probably that's Vata is mentioned here, on the path of the wind force, of the life force, the two hotars, divine hotars, sought with adoration, Ilita, Daivya, Hotara, Manusha, of Manu, of the mental being, of the mental, on the mental structure of the mentality of the human beings, of the man. Simply of man, but not of our humanity, Sri Aurobindo translates. Not man, not human beings. There is some humanity in the subtle world. And the two divine hotars represent that humanity, that action, most probably that dvipad, our involved soul, inborn and unborn self. Imamna yajnam agatam, come to our sacrifice. So Kapali Shastri, the two may represent the upward movement that reaches the subtle higher planes of the gods, and the downward movement that brings down the higher powers and something of the substance of the higher worlds to the human being engaged in the sacrifice. Since they, this is misprint, are always addressed in twain as a pair, it can also be the twin powers of light and life fixed in the mind world to call upon the gods to come down for the sake of humanity, of which they are the appointed priests of the call. So it's not very clear to anyone who are these two. I had my own. It's very close to this upward and downward movement, the power of knowledge and power proper, knowledge and power, yes, because they constitute the life force. The Chit Shakti Chit Tapas constitutes the life force itself. And life force is split on the knowledge and power. And that split, that duality creates that energy field, which we call life. I was thinking about two divine priests with regard to the Havirdhane. There is the hymn to two offerings, two divine offerings, two suns. One sun is above us and other is below. And these are two hotars who call for the fulfillment of the divine in this space between. Yes, one is manifested as Agni rising from Rudra, and other is coming down as Indra, coming from Vishnu above. So Vishnu is above, Rudra below, and Agni and Indra meet together. Yes, and they meet in this vital space, and they represent these two powers. One is power, and other is knowledge, and they come together and fulfill our sacrifice. And here I will stop. And if you have any thoughts, there are so many footnotes here, or some, I see, Vishal. And Chitra. Nice. Vishal, the absolute, the perfect, the alone, has entered with his silence into space. He has fashioned these countless persons of oneself. He has built 1,000,000 figures of his power. He lives in all who lived in his vast alone. Space is himself, and time is only he. The secret knowledge. We just read this.
Yeah, that was when I think you were the earlier hymns. I was reminded of this. I think one of the earlier hymns we read this morning.
Yeah, the Mother's prayers and meditations on March 20th today. Today's where she talks about the task cut out for men, where we have to build our individuality and offer it to the Lord. For those who do not consent, nature sometimes does the needful. Those who do not agree to do this, nature will do the needful. She will make them consent, yes? Force them to be something. Carve out of them a new being. Yes, wonderful. So, any other thoughts or sharing insights or anything? You see how dense this vision is of the sacrifice. Beautiful, detailed, and all is directed towards transformation, constantly transformation.
I have a question about dvaro in verse 5.
Yeah,
I know it's probably a Vedic form, so I'm not familiar. Is it plural? Is it
yeah,
dual?
it's plural. Dvar is
Plural.
the word dvar, and dvarach is soup. It's simply soup. Dvar, dvaro, dvara, dvaram, dvaro, dvara.
Yeah. So it's many doors. It's
Yes.
not. Yeah. Okay. Thank
Divik,
you.
also divik is plural. Mm. Well, yes. Any question for grammar? Yes. Devir dvaro.
The reason because the image that came to mind immediately was, the double doors that we've met in other hymns of opening,
Right.
and it made me think about the pearly gates, so called in Christianity, that wall off heaven. So I was thinking about the doors, the heavenly doors, the goddess doors. But if it's many, that because the reason I asked was because of what you quoted about it possibly having to do with chakras. We're like, okay, that would be many. I was thinking of it as just one set that divides us from the higher consciousness. So that's why I was inquiring more about that.
Right. No, these are many.
Many. Okay, thank you. I just want to say in general, this is so compact. I really want to spend a lot of time with it because I think there's something in the order of the Godheads that are so uniform in all of the hymns, and I want to understand why that is. And I want to understand what that has to do with the process of sacrifice. And it's so dense. I'm sure there's so much here, but I can't access it yet.
No,
So,
nobody. Don't
I,
worry. I read
but
a lot.
I find it very intriguing that all the different rishis do their version of this, and what's the same and what's different. I just feel like this is a wonderful uh, compilation somehow, or a condensation of something about the sacrificial process. So I'm excited to dig into it. I have no idea yet, but I know there's something there.
Yeah, it is. Something is that definitely you could feel it from the very start. Yes, that every godhead comes in the order of this transformation, and it's really very, very intriguing, and at the same time fulfilling. Something is being fulfilled within you, even without even knowing exactly what is happening. Yeah. But coming down to the very physical matter, to Tvashtri, and this is really amazing. Tvashri is suddenly mentioned, who created the physical form, organic matter, which can hold the immortality. Our immortality is fulfilled in a very strange way in the physical manner. Yes, so this organic matter reproduces itself. If you think of it, our cat brought kittens now. If you think of this, that kittens came out of the cat, yes? The cat will live her life and she will die, but these kittens will continue, yeah? Because they are younger. And so she gave them life and they continue. She actually extended herself in the physical form. It's incredible if you think of it. And they will extend themselves in the physical form and they will extend. And so this cat extends herself, or we extend ourselves through our children forward. If you think of it, it's amazing how it is arranged, you see. So immortality is actually gained in spite of our mortality. So if you look at it with spiritual look, it is something unthinkable how it was arranged. And why? What's the purpose of having more cats? Or what of the purpose having more men? What's the purpose at all having any man or any cat? Yeah. So all these questions we cannot answer from the physical point of view or materialistic. We need spiritual look at it.
Vladimir, I have a question. And because Indira was brought into the picture, by the way, every time you spoke, I felt you have a magic in your voice, by the way. So the way Indra is invoked, from a meditation perspective, I have a question. I'm thinking others may also benefit from this question. When the mother brings her light into us, or some kind of experiences ready to come in, or light, whatever the case may be, the inquisitive mind rushes and everything is lost. This has happened to me many a times. And I pray to the mother that my mind should not be this inquisitive and it should just watch. But it's not able to do that. How, because you bring Indra and their chariots, what can we do to stop this inquisitive mind from spoiling what is coming down?
In my view, inquisitive mind is not such a big issue. Yes, it's something else. It's when you start inquisition. When you start inquiring, then you should know what you're looking for. Yes. So to say, you have to stop where the thing comes. Yes, and there you have to hold on to it. And because people, when they start inquiry, they continue inquiring as if they are robots or something, and they kill the presence, or they exhaust themselves, and they're blocking the presence. That's why so many times. I'm doing inquiring only to the moment it is there, yes? And then you have to flow with it, as they say, make it soft for us, spread softly all over your presence, O Indra. We want to hold on to that soft presence and flow with it. We don't want lightning and then my inquiring mind blocks everything and that's the end of the story. Yes, we want to flow with that what comes. So our inquiring is only till the point when the answer comes. When the answer comes, you have to deal with that, yes, with that light. And you have to, how to say, saddle. You have to sit on it like on the horse and flow with it, rather than continue inquiring. Yes. And what is that? And what is this? Who cares what is that? You already got the answer. So hold on to it as long as you can, and you will get more answers automatically. You will be tuned to the answers. Some kind of knowledge by knowing which everything is known. You don't have to know more than what comes. Yes.
So there's a part of me that knows that I shouldn't be inquisitive, but it's almost an autopilot.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Switch off by autopilot. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Or just bring art into it. I do not know. I do not know how you function really. Maybe somebody else can suggest what to do in this. When you receive the answer, grace, you feel the presence. You can kill it with your inquiry, yeah. Yeah. But hold on to it, yes.
Maybe I should explain it better. So when it's coming, something in me, oh, it's so difficult to explain. Like, oh, what's happening here? The minute something in me is like, oh, what's happening here? Like that piece, I want to say, just don't do that. But I don't know how to.
Distrust. There's some distrust in the mental, yes. You want to really know what is happening there because there is some kind of fear. Otherwise, if you already recognize the presence, you would not jump. You would say, oh, you are here. Not what is happening there. You are here. And then that's it. That's you're totally focused on it. Yeah, you're instead of, oh, what was happening there? Wait a minute, let me check. Where am I here? What is it dangerous? Is it something? I think more opening is needed. Something is working on you to create that trust of your mind to these processes. Because maybe you had some experiences which were not totally easy for you or difficult, and that's why you kind of suspicious to anything coming to you spiritually.
It's not distrust as much as eagerness. Like there's
Oh,
no, yeah, very eager. Oh, I want to know this. Oh, I want to know that. That type of a eagerness. There's no distrust, but I think by nature they're so eager to know that it becomes in its own way.
by the way, we discussed this yesterday with Radha, exactly this. There is a whole passage in the letters on yoga where Sri Aurobindo explains this to his sadhaka, who is very
Oh,
eager to get things.
yeah.
And he tells him, well, look, you are here a few years, only 10 years or 15 years, and you already want everything and realize everything. There is a ongoing preparation. And in my case, he speaks about himself, Sri Aurobindo, in that reference. I started yoga, and only in 15 years afterwards, I got my first results. And I must tell you, 15 years for this process is like the speedy train, he says, or something like this. The speedy train, 15 years. You started yoga in 15 years, you got your first results. So sometimes it takes longer, the preparation. One should not be impatient. If it is impatience, not distrust, then just know that you are in the process. Whatever comes, welcome it. Let it work on you. Maybe it is not that big as you wanted it, but what can you do? Hold on to it, open to it, and that's it. We have not much to do here. No, not much to say in this matter, really. We totally depend on the grace. Intensify your aspiration if you want. Because when this comes, aspiration is intensified. Did you notice this? So when something comes from above, you feel the pressure or the presence, and you feel immediately in the heart there is movement. Yeah?
Mhm.
By itself, not even you. You are not there, as it were. You are here somewhere in the surface, on the surface. And so if you intensify this, this will intensify. If you intensify opening to above, this will intensify. These are two. And these are Javier, this Daiva Hotara, two divine Hotars. Here and here, there are two invokers. One calls for the other. This calls for this and this calls for this. And they come together.
I have also had a question, Vladimir, about Indra and his appearance here. First, in the third verse, where the beloved Agni is asked to bring him forth. And then, in relation to the seat that is strewn. So, from what you just said, I, I guess what I'm hearing is that because of the nature of Indra being flashing, if we strew the seed, he will the light will abide. Is that the idea of this Barhis? Because it seems that Indra is always there in this Barhis line.
Yes, Barhis, and not only Indra, all the gods, they're invited for Barhis. Barhis, as you know from the Brih, yes, to widen. Brahman is from that root also. Brahman is to widen the scope, yeah? Widening the space, widening consciousness, growing. So Barhis is that thing which widens our scope, or cleans up the space within, and offers it for the gods. That is Barhis. Yeah? If Barhis is not strewn, so to say, not put down for the gods, that means we didn't prepare the space for them. We are occupied with our own issues, selfish issues of survival or anything, yeah, or desires, fears, and so on, ordinary consciousness, then where would they stop? What would they do with us? They have no place to be. No? First of all, you cannot invite them properly, and if you can, they will not stay. You didn't prepare yourself to receive it. You didn't allow them to stay. You didn't make them welcome in your home. And Sri Aurobindo somewhere describes this, that why Agni is sometimes called as the guest in our home, because we are constantly closed to the divine. That's why he is a guest. Otherwise, he is not a guest. It is his home. But for us, it is a guest. We are so separated from it. So this Barhis is to prepare your home for them to settle. You already want them to be there. You already prepared the space. You already banished all those cherished guests of your vitality and mentality, yes, who are occupying you, preoccupying you constantly, not letting you be free from them. Yeah, Amlan, it makes sense.
Yes, theoretically, yes, it makes sense. But how does one do it? How does one take these? How does one weed out these guests, pull out the grasses, so to speak?
Oh, with the help, of course, of the same force, yes, which comes to you and your aspiration. And so you will start noticing them, seeing them slowly. And not always you will be able to do it, and not with everyone. They will be also still waiting there, until you are again unconscious enough to enter back, to come back to you. And this happens many times, many years, maybe many lives, until you are ready, truly ready, not to let them in. But the whole process is a preparation for that very thing. There is no other way, actually. It would be nice there would be some other way, shortcut. No. Hell is a shortcut to heaven, as Sherwin says. So be ready.
I have a question that the process which is mentioned here, how does it correlate with Ashwapati's journey in Savitri?
How do you think it correlates? Do you have any thoughts?
I'm wondering because there's clearly a lot of discussion about the overmind here.
Hmm.
And in reaching the overmind, obviously, this is not a stage where one is directly reaching there. I mean, I'm wondering about the question of the straight path and the path of going step by step from one higher mind to the illumined mind to the intuitive mind and then the overmind. And is this following the same route?
Well, I didn't trace it that way, but if you look at it from this perspective of coming from down upward, so it starts with kindling the flame, then he is mentioned as Narashamsach, worshipped by the gods. That means the gods are part of this enterprise of the flame, as it is described in the second mandala, first verse, first hymn by Gritsamada, that all the godheads are actually Agni in action, yes, but in action. So Agni is the one which we have to feed with our Gritam Tivram, with this sharp mentality, luminous mentality, which we receive from above. So these two powers, calling from below, rising from below, and feeding it from above, or supporting with force from above, is the process of integral yoga the same way. Regarding the book of the Traveler of the Worlds, Sri Aurobindo had something else in mind. He was traveling from consciousness to show us, to create for us a kind of template, a framework, that we know how each level of consciousness works. And on each level, he has this holistic divine look. It's not like that he's stuck to that level. No, he has a divine view on this level. So it's a little bit different, kind of, most probably. I'm not totally kind of sure now, but it's a bit different as far as I know the book of the Traveler of the Worlds. And he didn't want anyone to comment on this book, because he was always sending some of his passages to Amal Kiran, and Amal Kiran was always asking and commenting and discussing with Sri Aurobindo different passages through all Savage, but not book 2. He said, this is not for you to discuss. So something interesting, because this book 2 is a template which we must know as human beings, the ladder of the worlds, yes? How we rise, what is next. So it's a kind of not a sacrificial traveling, as it were, but at the same time is sacrificial, but with already awakened consciousness. That's what I want to say. Sri Aurobindo travels from level to level with already divine look. It's not the same as you rise from material to vital and so on. Yes, it's not evolutionary process of growth of consciousness. He gives us a template. We discussed this the other day, why the descent into the night in the middle, or it is in another group, Aurachit, why it is in the middle. Yes. The second book is also worth studying as the Vedic template, all the planes of consciousness. Here we have something already implied, understood. This is very brief kind of account, or not account, it's invocation, propitiation of the gods, yes, calling them in the particular order of transformation. So in that sense, it is not the same. No, finally, I arrived at my first conclusion. Yes, Purvi.
Yes, thank you.
But you please examine more, and I'm sure there will be elements in both which are needed for our journey. All right, I'm already over time, 30 minutes, because it took longer for me this time to cover the whole hymn, or not even the whole hymn. I didn't finish it. It's pity. I wanted to finish the whole, that you would feel this transition from level to level, but maybe next time we will do it more consciously. I will send you in the meanwhile the file with Kapali Shastri's explanations, and so see what you can do with it. Prepare yourself for the next time for this journey. We will do it again until we understand what is going on. To a certain extent, of course. All right, let me close with the mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. See you next time.